breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN and available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Our producer is AJ Fredrickson, does a great job putting the show together. And we thought we might have a chance to talk about a big upset yesterday for a while. Vikings got a 13-10 lead in the second quarter. Fought back from an early turnover on the very first play of the game, which has been a problem, as we know, all year long. It was the Vikings' 7th first quarter turnover, and they're now -9 in the turnover ratio, which Coach Kevin O'Connell talked about again today at his media session about the big emphasis trying to change that dynamic, which has been the main reason the Vikings have started 1-4 with this poor start is the turnover problems. But AJ, the game yesterday, certainly exciting atmosphere at US Bank Stadium, had their opportunities, and I guess we'll call it again, missed opportunities in this game.
Yeah, it's just frustrating every week to watch them turn the ball over. This time, we get it out of the way on the very first play of the game. But it almost seems like It seems like, Jeff, that they are good enough to compete with these teams. It's just the in-house issues are what's really holding them back. Obviously, there's some outside stuff and whatnot you can say here and there, and maybe people should keep their helmets on while they're on the playing field. But putting all that aside, it seems like the Vikings' biggest enemy right now might be themselves.
Yeah, and we knew the start of the season was going to be difficult. The 4 losses they've had were all to playoff teams from last year. But the disappointing thing, as Kevin O'Connell talked about, is losing these games at home, and especially 3 straight home losses, and now they're looking at a stretch where they have 3 out of 4 on the road. Some of those games are against winnable opponents, such as the Bears this week, but the Bears are coming off a big win in Washington. It's not going to be easy, and nothing really comes ever easy in the NFL. So they've got to get things turned around quickly, get them back on track, and that's the disappointing thing, to lose the games at home and the manner in which they lost the games. And yesterday it was not only the initial turnover, the fumble by Josh Oliver on a good first opening play, but then so many drop passes in this game. TJ Hawkinson, a guy they're paying $15 million a year to, he's a Pro Bowl tight end, made a lot of crucial catches last year and has made some this year, but he's had way too many drops. Going back to the Chargers game, even the last play of the game, the ball is basically in his vicinity. And I think that TJ Hawkinson needs to corral a lot more of those balls when he's expected to do that. And in traffic, I know some of the balls are coming in hot and high, but that's what you expect your star players to do. Jefferson makes those catches, even though he had a drop yesterday too before he got hurt. And that's certainly going to be a storyline to watch carefully going forward this week. And just talking about Justin's situation, Kevin O'Connell said today he's had an MRI on that hamstring, getting it tested, is going to get some independent opinions too. And then they'll find out as the week progresses about his availability. It may be questionable, certainly for the Bear game, and he could miss a couple weeks, which would put more pressure on Jordan Addison, the first-round pick, who played really well yesterday, had a great game, a couple third down, fourth down conversions, 6 catches in the game, a star in the making, as the coaches and Kirk Cousins talked about. But now even more pressure on him and KJ Osborne and Hawkinson to deliver what they expect out of him, and including Josh Oliver to hang on to the ball. It's just got to happen. On defense, I think the positive things to come out of this game are that the defense played pretty well against an elite best quarterback in the league and Patrick Mahomes, the best tight end in the league, and Travis Kelce, who they thought they had knocked out of the game, but he comes back, of course, and has a great second half, makes big plays. But I didn't like their coverage on Kelce on the touchdown, which we're going to see shortly in our highlights. I didn't like the way they were picking him up, letting him essentially get open on the last touchdown. A couple dropped interception opportunities. Cam Bynum on the 3rd and 18 on the first Chiefs drive of the second half, really a huge play in the game. When they get them in that situation, Mahomes puts it up for grabs. Bynum mistimes his jump and results in a 33-yard gain by Justin Watson, sets up a touchdown. You got to make those plays, and that's the kind of plays they made last year. That's the kind of plays they got to make again. Mekhi Blackmon, the third-round pick, had an interception opportunity go through his hands. Got to start making those plays. So I will say this, AJ, that 1-4 is not fatal. And I witnessed this up close in 2002 when I was president of the Titans. We were 1-4 at the beginning of the season, and our 3rd and 4 losses were really ugly. We got blown out by the Raiders. We lost at home to Washington, and everybody's calling for Coach Jeff Fisher's head. And lo and behold, we won 11 of our next 12 games, won the AFC South, beat the Steelers in a divisional playoff game, ended up in the AFC Championship game where we lost to the Raiders. But the point is, it can be salvaged. The season can turn around. There are opportunities on the schedule as they go forward where they have some opponents that are not the Kansas City Chiefs necessarily. Now, it may not be in 2 weeks when the San Francisco 49ers come to town, because the 49ers might be the best team in the league right now. But they're going to have opportunities if they keep the faith and keep working hard and eliminate the turnovers is the number one thing they have to do. So let's go to our highlights. And courtesy of CBS, the number one team, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo were here. And let's start out with that ugly first play of the game.
Fake it to him, going up top. Got a completion to Oliver, who's considered a blocking tight end, but he fumbles the ball and the script continues. They have been a disaster in the first quarter this year, coughing up and turning over the football, and it starts today on the very first play of the game, recovered by Brian Cook.
Yeah, as we said, that's their 7th first quarter turnover and -9 in the turnover ratio. Lost the turnover battle for the 5th straight game. All 5 games they've lost the turnover battle, which is, I think, the key statistic in any NFL game. And so you've got to protect the football. The Vikings did respond and had some pretty good drives in the first half, including their drive in the second quarter where Cousins hits Jefferson over the middle and on a 3rd and 9 play hits Jordan Addison as they're going on. But one of the key plays on that drive, they're in a 4th and 2 situation. And I thought it was really kind of amusing because they have an incompletion and Kevin O'Connell is shrugging his shoulders, kind of looking disgusted as the team comes off the field and the punt team goes on the field. And it was all a setup for what happened here.
With Ryan Wright instead. Oh, fake! To the up back. They're going to have the first down. It's Chandler we talked about earlier. That one that Kevin O'Connell had told us, watch out for him in future years.
And that was a big play on the drive, which set up this touchdown pass from Kirk Cousins to the first-round pick Jordan Addison really coming on.
You got a shot to Jefferson, one-on-one up top if you want it.
He's looking for him. In zone, and it's caught by Addison. Jordan Addison, the rookie from Southern Cal.
Good protection by the offensive line on that play. Cousins was sacked 3 times in the game. And so as we went to the second half, and the Chiefs tied the game at halftime, it's 13-all at the break. Going into the third quarter, I mentioned earlier the big play where 3rd and 18 for the Chiefs and Cam Bynum mistimes his jump, a 33-yard game, which sets up this touchdown. And one of my problems with this particular play is Byron Murphy Jr. was one of the Vikings' key free agent signees, making $9 million a year, kind of taking Patrick Peterson's place as the number one corner. And he gets beat by a rookie here on a slant, Rashee Rice, who could be a good player in the future, but you expect your number one corner to be able to cover a rookie receiver in the slot in this situation, but Murphy was not able to do that. He's got to step up his game. Here's this touchdown.
Motion, you got man-to-man, you got pressure coming at you.
It's Rice for the touchdown. Rashee Rice at the goal line And this impressive rookie has his second touchdown of the season.
20-13. Chiefs at that point. Travis Kelce, we mentioned earlier. No Taylor Swift in the house, but Travis still had a big day. And just the way that he plays the game, the way he is so smart and savvy in finding the open spaces, and we saw it big time on this drive as the Chiefs doubled up their lead to 14 points. There was, in particular, a couple of big plays on this drive. There was a 3rd and 7 play where, again, I questioned the coverage on Kelce, who I think should be double covered by the Vikings in this game as an all-pro, first-team all-pro tight end. But they have Josh Metellus, a safety on him individually. Kelce makes a great catch on the play and sets them up, continues the drive, which got to 4th and 1, and then there was another huge play in the game, and the Vikings didn't necessarily get the help from the officials in this game. We're going to see at the end where the controversial call where Jordan Addison, I think, was interfered with. But earlier here on this series in the third quarter, it was a 4th and 1 play. Harrison Smith was caught looking into the backfield for a run play on 4th and 1 and got beat by Marquez Valdez-Scantling on a deep ball, interfered with him. It was a somewhat questionable call, but Harrison didn't get his head around on the play. And as I mentioned, Kelce, and this play really bugged me, AJ, because as you'll see, Kelce is wide open on the touchdown.
Mahomes, wide open. Kelce comes off the X-ray table and finds the end zone.
Now, who's the closest corner to him, AJ? Byron Murphy. Your high-priced corner, and you cannot be in that situation and have Travis Kelce just running scot-free when you're trying to win the game, and that puts the Chiefs up 14 points at that point and sets up kind of a frantic finish. Before we get to that, let's talk about our great sponsor, GMC. GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate in Sierra. This tailgate takes innovation to the next level with 6 distinct functions that let you load, unload, and access the cargo box quicker and easier, or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional-grade GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models, plus no monthly payments until 2024. See your select Minnesota GMC dealers. Length of contract limited, deferred monthly payments for 120 days, excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine, must finance with GM Financial, down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from date of financing. Some customers will not qualify, not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/16/23. So at that point in our highlights, the Chiefs are up 27-13. The Vikings start moving the ball again, which they're able to do a lot of the game. And I thought the positives in this football game for the Vikings were that they moved the ball offensively. Their defense played pretty well. They held the Chiefs to 67 yards rushing. There were some encouraging signs against the Super Bowl champs. And on this particular series, this is what the series where Jefferson gets hurt, and the Vikings are able to score a touchdown on a screen to Alexander Madison.
And it's the 14th play of this drive. Complete. Madison with the touchdown, Minnesota.
Now, the Vikings had 2 defensive stops in the fourth quarter, and that was a positive sign, too, against a prolific Chiefs offense. As we said, down 7 at this point, no JJ. And Hawkinson has the third pass bounce off his hands. They get to a 3rd and 8, hit Jordan Powell, a nice throw from Cousins. And I think the other positive in this game, AJ, Kirk Cousins, I thought, played really well and threw the ball really well. He had over 280 yards passing, should have been well over 300 yards in this game. if they don't have 6 drops in the game. But they also had some difficulties getting play calls in, and Hawkinson, with his drops in the game, also didn't get lined up correctly on a 4th and 7 play with about 5 minutes to go, and they had to burn their last time out, which was terrible in that situation with clock management. So it's 4th and 12, and this play we talked about the officiating in the ball game. I thought this was a bad call by the officials to pick up the flag in this situation. Let's look at it.
And they are coming. They're coming. He's going to have someone make a play.
Boy, they are coming. Cousins just lofts it up in the air, and interference call is on the way against Snead.
There is no foul for pass interference.
Oh, wow.
Now that's ridiculous, because you could see Snead clearly impeding the opportunity for Addison to go back and get the ball. Snead's not looking for the ball. I mean, if that's not pass interference, I don't know what is, and that would have given the Vikings a 1st and goal at the 1-yard line with about 4 minutes to go, a chance to tie the game. Doesn't mean they're going to win the game, because Mahomes would have had the ball and certainly would have had a chance to take them down and have a winning field goal or whatever. But the Vikings turned it over on downs. Again, red zone issues that have been a problem. They were better on 3rd down in this game. And actually on 4th down, they were 4 or 5 on 4th downs. And so their 3rd and 4th down efficiency better than it was in Carolina, where they were 1 of 8. But they get the ball back because the defense stopped Mahomes and the Chiefs again. But there's only 1:07 left on the clock. No timeouts. No Justin Jefferson. Really a tough situation to be in. And so the Vikings managed to get downfield to the Kansas City 24 and with a shot at the end zone.
Cousins rolling out. He's not going to get a chance. Dano ends it. Mike Dana swarms, sacks.
Yeah, actually, that was more like about the 40-yard line. But again, Ed Ingram gets beat on this play by Dana, and Cousins gets sacked before he can even throw up the Hail Mary. Not that you're going to necessarily convert it, but to not have an opportunity to throw the ball, disappointing in that situation. Let's hear from Kevin O'Connell, Kirk Cousins, and Jordan Addison after the game.
We felt like we could come out today and compete with the defending world champs and find a way to get a win here at home, and didn't get off to a very good start, with putting the ball on the ground there on the first play. But thought our guys battled, went really the next 59 and a half minutes without turning it over, and tried to battle to the very, very end. Did have a couple, injuries and depth tested. Guys stepped up and tried to compete to the very end. I love this team, love the way they compete, love the way they're, these guys are itching to get back to work already. And that's what this is going to be about. Just continuing to find every edge we can within our football schemes, but also just continue to coach our guys up. They'll band together tight as ever, and we get an opportunity to go win a division game next week on the road. It's going to be a challenge for our team. We got to get our minds right for that immediately.
And Kirk Cousins talking about the game and the disappointment.
We need to start faster. First quarters need to be better. We need to protect the football. We need to make plays when they're there. And I think there have been a lot of plays there to be made. And we're making a lot of them, but there's more that we got to go make.
Do you feel like self-inflicted wounds are more of the problem now? Are you guys doing it to yourselves a little bit more than having it done to you? Or
I think it's a little of both. I think certainly at times you feel like, there's opportunities for us to play better, that we are capable of being a much better football team. And when you feel that's the big part of it, then it's very fixable, or it gives you hope, encouragement that we can turn it around, because you feel like you have the players in the room to do that, and the coaches in the room to do that.
And as I said, AJ, I think the fact that Kirk Cousins was able to rebound from some subpar performances in recent weeks and really had I thought, a very good game against a quality Chiefs defense that was second in the league in sacks last year. He threw for 284, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked 3 times in the game, and didn't have much of a running game against that Chiefs defense. The Vikings only 70 yards on the ground in the game against Kansas City. I think they're going to have to be better running the ball against the Bears, take some pressure off the passing game a little bit. But the Vikings passing game, second ranked in the NFL, and they're going to go against the number 31 pass defense against the Chicago Bears. So if there's a matchup that they can have an opportunity to really do well, that would be it, even if Justin Jefferson is missing in this game. Those hamstrings are tricky. You certainly don't want to make it worse so it becomes a 4 to 6 week injury instead of a 2 week injury.
Exactly.
So I'll be surprised if he plays this week. But then again, knowing Justin and his competitiveness, I'm sure he's going to try to make it, unless they determine with the MRI it is more pronounced injury. So we will see, and we'll follow that story this week, definitely. But I do think that Jordan Addison definitely on the cusp of being a really, really top NFL receiver, had a big day. I think KJ Osborne has to give them a little bit more. He had a play in the game where he couldn't get his head turned around in time in the end zone, which forced him to kick a field goal on third down after that third down miss. He's got to be better. Hawkinson's got to be better. Oliver's got to catch the ball when he has opportunities. So there are plenty of things that they can do against the Chicago team that is a little bit revived coming off that big win in Washington, 40-20 over the Commanders, a big upset when the Bears hadn't won a game yet. The Vikings have had success in recent years against Chicago, but it's never easy in the division. This is the first divisional game. Vikings have 12 games left on this season. There's plenty of time to right the ship. But I think it's got to start this week in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because the next week, the Monday night game against the 49ers, that's going to be a tough one. We know that.
Yeah.
Because the 49ers, probably the best team in the NFL right now. They blew out Dallas yesterday, 42-10. Surprisingly easy game. Dak Prescott throws 3 interceptions. Brock Purdy, I think, AJ, it's about time people stop talking about him as the last pick in the draft and the shocking surprise that he is, because he's pretty much an elite quarterback right now. He's leading the NFL with a 123.1 passer rating. He threw 4 touchdowns against a good Dallas defense yesterday and has the 49ers at 5-0. Brock Purdy is now 12-0 in games that he's started and completed in his NFL career. The only game that he lost as a starter was the NFC Championship when he got hurt against the Eagles last year.
Oh.
So you've got San Francisco, you got Philadelphia. The thing that's interesting, I think, around the league, as we look at the results from Sunday, is the fact that all these teams that are hot seem to have trouble winning the following week. First it was Dallas losing at Arizona, then Buffalo blows out the Dolphins after they scored 70 against Denver. And then on Sunday in London, the Bills, coming off that big win over Miami, get upset by the Jaguars. So perhaps we could see some more upsets this week. And the 2 teams on upset alerts, the 2 undefeated teams, San Francisco goes to Cleveland, coming off their bye, has a pretty good defense. That could be an interesting game. See if Deshaun Watson's back after he missed the last game. And the Eagles, well, they're at the Jets. And the Jets, well, I don't know what to say about the Jets, but they managed to get a win over Denver, which is probably a good thing. Let's hear again from our great sponsor, GMC.
GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering in the GMC Truck Series, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate on Sierra. Try the GMC Canyon with powerful and innovative features engineered and built for all your adventures to come. Or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional-grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models. Plus, no monthly payments until 2024. See your local GMC dealer today. Length of contract limited. Deferred monthly payments for 121 days. Excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine. Must finance with GM Financial. Down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from data financing. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/2/23.
So looking around the NFL again yesterday, before we talk a little bit more about the Bears game, the New England Patriots, AJ, wow, kind of a train wreck right now.
Yeah, a little bit of a dumpster fire over there. I don't know. I'm sure people are pointing fingers. Is it Mac Jones? Is it Bill Belichick? Who's to blame? And there's a lot going wrong in New England right now.
Yeah, the Belichick had the worst loss of his NFL career in New England when they got beat in Dallas 38-3 last week. Then they get beat 34-0 at home against the Saints, who are not necessarily a prolific offensive team. Mac Jones benched for the second straight week during the game. People questioning Belichick. Should he be a coach and a GM? Probably not. Just coach the team, Bill. But yeah, the Patriots right now are in trouble. And look around the league at some of the key games coming up this Sunday. I mentioned the 49ers at the Browns, Eagles at the Jets. Detroit, 4-1 after beating the Panthers as expected. And they go to Tampa Bay. The Bucs are coming off their bye. They're 3-1. I think that could be a good test for Detroit, especially if St. Brown is out in this game, as he was against Carolina, their best receiver. The Cowboys go to the Chargers on Sunday night. We'll see how the Cowboys can bounce back from their disaster against San Francisco. Another interesting game, Seattle is at Cincinnati. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase looked like they got back on track. It was against Arizona, but they'll have a bigger test against Seattle this week as they try to get back in the mix. The Vikings, as we said, need to get on a roll here pretty soon. It's got to start this week against the Bears. It's going to be really tough the following Monday night against the 49ers, and we'll have our show on Tuesday night that week, looking ahead a couple of weeks. As for the Chicago Bears, of course, Justin Fields is the lightning rod in Chicago, but he's coming off two really good games. He threw for 282 and three touchdowns to DJ Moore in Washington. He's also been sacked 20 times already after being sacked 55 times last year. He's the third most sacked quarterback in the league. Should be opportunities for Danielle Hunter, Marcus Davenport. I think they still need to get more interior pass rush from guys like Dean Lowry, Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Bullard. I'm sure we'll see some blitzing of Fields in the game, but they better be wary of single coverage on DJ Moore, who is coming off that fantastic game. Byron Murphy, again, I mentioned him. He'll probably have a lot of the responsibility on Moore, and Byron Murphy has got to start playing like a number one corner, unlike what he did yesterday against the Chiefs. So it'll be a good challenge for the Vikings. They got to start protecting the ball, do better than that -9 turnover differential, bring that number 2 passing game to Chicago. Hopefully it won't be too windy in the Windy City for Cousins to throw the ball. Maybe Justin Jefferson will have a miraculous recovery. That would certainly help the cause. If not, a little more on the plate of young Jordan Addison, along with KJ Osborne and Brandon Powell, who I thought looked pretty good in the game. TJ Hawkinson's got to step up his game. Defensively, the Vikings, coming off a couple pretty good performances, I think they're going to have opportunities. Fields still holds the ball, so they need to get after him. And we will be back next Monday to talk about the Vikings and the Chicago Bears, see if the Vikings bounce back from this disappointing loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. This has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with our producer, AJ Fredrickson. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday after the Bears game.